What if a 1% change to your main hero image on Amazon could result in 10% more clicks? Imagine the impact of slightly changing some text size or shifting the angle or the shadows, and it actually matters. What's going on, guys? John Aspinall here, brand evangelist at PickFu, and if you're not familiar with PickFu, we're an online testing platform that lets you get instant feedback on everything from your images, your product ideas, your creatives, your ad assets, your logos, websites, landing pages, pretty much anything you could think of. And it's not just about testing, it's about getting the actual data from real consumers and real shoppers to see exactly what they want and why. Because let's be honest, data without action is pretty much worthless. So instead of relying on your gut or instinct, using PickFu can get you to make smarter and faster decisions. Well, let's start with the basics. What is iterative testing? Iterative testing is making a small change to your listing or image at a time, like updating a product image, tweaking the packaging, or adjusting your title, and testing that change with real shoppers. Then you use the feedback to make another adjustment, and you want to test again. This cycle of continuous improvement helps you make data-driven decisions, not guesses. So why should you care about small changes? Well, here's why. Algorithm benefits. Even a small change in your click-through rate helps you climb Amazon's rankings. Conversion rate benefits. Listings optimized through real feedback convert better because they reflect what the buyers and shoppers are really looking for and really wanting. Cost savings. Instead of risky redesigns or expensive launches, you can fine-tune affordably in small steps. With every small improvement, your listing becomes more persuasive, more trustworthy, and more profitable. Let me show you 3 real-world examples on how people are doing small iterative tests to get maximum clarity and actionable data. In this test, a brand compared 2 nearly identical diffuser images. The only change? A clearer front panel that showed more of the glowing salt rocks. So you can see right here, that's the only change. This piece right here, I'll make it larger so you can see it, that was relevant between this. So this is clear, and this is a more frosted version. But you could see out of 100 women, the overwhelming majority preferred the clear. Why? Well, that's when the responses down here come into play. We're seeing things like, I like that it shows more of the rocks, it feels warmer and more real. The see-through panel makes it look like it's higher quality. It looks more inviting and complete. So this is a great example of small visual tweaks to product realism and perceived quality that can drive preference and clicks. So it's true, because when you look at this right here, I can see more of the rocks. I can see all that kind of stuff. So over here, I can't see that as much. And that's probably the biggest seller because that's predominantly what the product is. So it's the Himalayan rocks and salt rocks and all that kind of good stuff. So you want to be able to see it. So imagine going to market with this and not this. Or if you had 2 different iterations and putting this one as the main hero or the main parentage and not this one, you wouldn't get as many clicks. So this is really, really good. Or how about this one? If you're shopping on Amazon, which product would you rather buy? So if you notice over here, they look pretty similar, but the difference over here is that the product is slightly turned. So it's turned this way and this one's turned this way. It almost gives it a little bit of a different color, but it's a turn. So after asking 100 USA-based men, we could see that 61% preferred the brighter, fuller arrangement. And remember, this is just the angle. This is the same exact product, but the angle. So people are liking this more because it looks more fuller. But at the end of the day, it is the same product. So there is no difference outside of that angle right there. So more importantly, why? Well, I love the vibrant red. It feels higher quality. Option A just pops more in the thumbnail. And that's really, really true. And when you take a look at the demographics, and you can see over here who the age range is for the individuals and why they chose that. So for example, if your demographic was more of the older male, that's strong. But if your demographic was someone in their 40s, early 50s, well, it's 50-50. So that's when it comes down to the actual demographics about filtering out what is actionable data and what's not. And the third example here is probably one of my favorite. Which book cover do you prefer and why? So literally it's the exact same book cover, but the text is larger on this one than it is on this one. The text is literally the same. There's no wording change or anything like that. They just made it larger. Now, I would think that larger text is easier to read and would be better for clicks and for people looking for it. But actually, the PickFu shows otherwise. And the reason? It looks calmer to read. The other version looks too aggressive. I could process the information better. And it's also about looking at this over here. This is a book about the Anxious Attachment Recovery Workbook. So practical tools to conquer relationship fears, build confidence. So it's already something about, people being stressed and anxious and this and that. So maybe this is yelling at them too much through the font, and they prefer something like this. And that's why that's powerful, because even someone like me that looks at this all the time, I would think that larger text is better, but it's not. So a slight change like that is huge when it comes to your click-through rate. Because could you imagine if you went with something like this live on Amazon? Well, people might be stressed out already as it is, and this is almost yelling at them. And I would never think that. So it's really, really interesting what a PickFu like this with iterative testing really unfolds. Pretty cool, right? So before you start, here's some pro tips that you'd want to do. Test one variable at a time. If you change multiple elements, you're not going to know which one moved the needle in either direction. Read the open-ended comments. They tell you why shoppers and the audience chose what they did. Collaborate with your team. Share results with your designer, your agency, your marketing team to move faster and iterate further and make fast improvements. Stay consistent. Iterative testing is about small steps that add up to big wins over time. Ready to try for yourself? Head on over to PickFu.com and use coupon code YouTube, YOUTUBE, for 50% off your first poll. I'll go ahead and throw the link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe for more testing tips, tricks, and ways to improve your Amazon business. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.